Now, say somebody is working in a company and that creative freedom is heavily restricted. They feel almost kind of suffocated in that culture.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to that employee?
Read Stoicism, right? Because that employee is in fact existing in a microcosm of a totalitarian regime. That's exactly what we're talking about. Someone who exists in a regime that resists criticism, in which ideas coming from the top are not challengeable, are not open for collaboration. And what's more, in going in the worst direction, there can actually be consequences to pay for voicing criticisms against ideas coming from the top. And so when an individual, and we're describing a organizational workplace dynamic, but this could be any number of other dynamics in military and sport, in a interpersonal relationship, you could let your imagination run. And what the Stoics shared with the world 2,500 years ago, going back to the first phase, was this one truth that is, as far as I'm concerned, irrefutable, that the one thing that every human has power over, that no one or nothing else can influence, is our own thinking. And the only way our thinking can be influenced by anyone or anything else is if we interpret it in such a way that allows for the influence, right? And it's critically important that every individual understands that this is something that we all have a choice over. There's no law of nature that indicates or that requires that we all interpret reality in a certain way and therefore react to it in a certain way. And I cannot overstate how critically important that is. So it is this understanding that, in my opinion, the most helpful for someone who's existing in a scenario that I've just described as totalitarian, and their creative freedom is being strangled and they are not fulfilled, their interest level in what they're doing is not high, that provided they don't have any other viable options to pursue in the short term, the most they can do is learn to reinterpret the situation differently, such that these conditions that are outside of their power, this individual can learn to create a form of interpretation that protects them from these external factors that to an untrained mind could be interpreted in such a way that ultimately is self-deprecating. So it's a psychological skill that ultimately the Stoics developed over 2,000 years ago that is absolutely viable and as far as I'm concerned, will be till the end of time.